guys, so since I filmed my makeup that I decluttered, I thought I would share with you the palettes I decided to keep. So yeah, I figured you might be interested just to see what past the first of many rounds of decluttering I should be doing. So this is 2 drawers of my Alex, the wide 5-drawer unit, and these are where I'm keeping most of my eyeshadow palettes that I decided to keep. A lot of my palettes, most likely like the Untouchables and smaller like Quads by Chanel and Dior, might be still packed away somewhere. So these are what I have unpacked and decided to keep for now and hopefully use. So I am filming this with my hands on my phone, so no tripod, so it might be a little bit shaky and moving around a little bit. I apologize. But yeah, let's just look at these 2 drawers and show you what I've decided to keep for now. Let's start with this, since it's mostly like larger palettes. This, of course, is one of the Pat McGrath palettes of her Mothership line that she first released, like those 3. Apologize for the lighting. It's nighttime and my lighting in my room is not very great. But this is, I forget what Mothership it is. If I remember or look it up, I will post it on this video. But yeah, you all have seen these. It's nothing new. And you could tell I barely used it, but I love it. And I am not getting rid of any of these because they are so expensive. Here it is, Mothership 2 Sublime. And then this is one of the other Mothership palettes that came out a little bit later, Divine Rose. And this was like freaking selling out so fast and going for crazy prices on Mercari, I think. But I cannot remember. I either bought this off Mercari or I finally bought it once it restocked. I do not remember at all. But I was just like, I have to have it, and have barely used it. But the shades are just very beautiful neutrals, and yeah, I just can't say no. And then here is one of the original 3, the Mothership 3 Subversive palette. When these originally came out, I was not planning on getting this one. Not planning on getting this palette. I thought for sure I would get the one in the gray box. I think that's what the Mothership one. But when I swatched it or saw it in person, I just fell in love with these 4 shades, and I just decided to get this one instead. And I meant to still get the gray Mothership palette, and I just have not picked it up. I just feel like since it's been out for so long, I really just want that to be a really like good deal, like half off or something, before I finally get it now after waiting however many years now. So this one I have. And then here is the Mothership 6 Midnight Sun in this packaging. This one wasn't really one of the popular ones. You can tell I have at least used it once. But yeah, I mean, I really liked it. I thought the green shade there is really nice. The purple is really pretty. And yeah, I don't really know why this didn't seem to be a big hit. But yes, I had to get this. And then I do have the Star Wars Pat McGrath. It originally came out with oh gosh, the crown, and it was limited edition, and people were like selling theirs like crazy. In fact, I sold mine originally because I barely used it, and I was like, oh my gosh, people are paying ridiculous amounts, so okay, let me try and sell this. And it sold. And little did I know it was going to be released again, just in the Star Wars packaging. And so I'm like, great, now I could just buy it with this limited edition packaging because I love limited editions. Not that I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but I just had to have the limited edition packaging. So I got it with the new packaging. And then, of course, then she released it again. Was it the Royal Palette? I can't remember. But she released it again in the original packaging with the crown. And I was like, so yeah, people, not to knock Mercari or resales, but really, like, it's most likely going to come back around. Whether it's candles, whether it's makeup, if it's popular, most likely they're going to re-release it because they want to make more money again. So I would hold off and not buy at crazy prices. Just saying. Anyway, so I do also have the new Bridgerton palette she released, the 6-pan, but that's in another drawer because I couldn't really fit anything more in this drawer. So here are some Natasha Denonas here, my Natasha Denona Triochrome palette. I just thought this was gorgeous and it's like beautiful shimmers. So, and of course, I don't think I've even touched it yet. No, it's just too pretty. Sometimes when I have a new palette, I'm just like, want to keep it new and pristine, and I'm like, what is the point of that? So that's why I decluttered a bunch, because I'm hoping I will use this once I, you know, start using more of my eyeshadows and playing around with makeup more. And people were getting this in their Beautylish, I think, extra large lucky bag this year, and I mean, even though I already have it, it would have been awesome to get that in the lucky bag. So those people were very lucky, since this is like what, one of her $129 palettes. Yeah. I have the empty gold palette box. I have no idea where the gold palette is, but it must be in here somewhere, and I probably put the box in here to eventually put it back once I find it. So let's see if we find it. I have the Natasha Denona Metropolis palette. I remember seeing this, I think, at Sephora in 2019 when I went, and just remembering how beautiful it was in person, but I don't know, I was like back and forth on whether or not to spend the money on it, and of course I just caved. I had to. So, and look at those shades. So I think I did use it. Yes, I did. So not completely gone to waste, but I need to definitely use it more. I think the color stories look a little mishmashed and kind of put some people off, but when you look at it kind of in columns, I feel like they kind of go together. If you like split them off like 2 by 2, and then you have some neutrals on the side there. But I don't know. People, you know, can do whatever they want with their makeup colors, and I think it's just a fun palette to play with. And then I have her Safari palette, and it was like an all matte palette, which I am not. I never was into matte shades. I love a shimmer. I love sparkle. I love a metallic. And the fact that I was like, ooh, mattes? Like, what? I got this because I didn't have a lot of mattes. I was like, okay, let me get an all matte palette, give it a try. And this didn't really get too many good reviews. People thought they were like maybe patchy or just like didn't blend very well. And I really did like the shades I have tried, and I do appreciate this palette. So I'm definitely not getting rid of it. I have the Sephora Pro Pigment palette. This is Editorial 2.0. They released these larger palettes, like a few of these at a time, and I just thought the Editorial 2.0 was just really unique, and the shades are beautiful, and I think the quality of the Sephora shadows in these palettes were pretty good for their price. I mean, I think they were still a little bit pricey, but you could get them on sale or during this VIB Rouge sale or something, and I think that's what I did when I got this. And I just think those shimmers down on the bottom here are beautiful, and just has a variety of colors to really play around with. And then I have this ABH Norvina collection palette. I think everybody had really polarized opinions about this collection when she was releasing them. Like, so many people were like, oh my gosh, something new from Norvina and her own kind of branch off of ABH, and the colors are just kind of weird. Like, I just think it's very bright, bold colors, and I'm not too much of a fan of like wearing these shades, but I kept it. It is kind of large and bulky. I might declutter it eventually, but yeah, I just didn't know. I wanted to give it a try, and I got some of the other ones as well, but I think there's one I didn't buy, the maybe blue-green palette, because there's just a lot of blues. But yeah, I did get this one, but I haven't really played with it too much, as you can tell. So here is another one from that collection. I basically got this because the packaging is gorgeous with the butterflies and the orange. But yeah, these shades are very vibrant and very out of my comfort zone, and kind of neon shades thrown in. So I have not even touched this, I don't think. Yeah, I think I got like the box set too. It has like this palette, and it came with like the, I think the glitter glue and everything. But yeah, I have not reached for it. So like I said, this might also be eventually decluttered. And it took me a while because I was like back and forth on whether or not I should get this because I haven't really touched the other two. But I think the shades are just really beautiful with those lilacs and purples and a little bit of a softer kind of feminine look with this palette. So I got it and I have not used it. So yeah, that's why you declutter, because hopefully you'll then use the ones that you kept, which is my plan, I swear. Now the good old original Anastasia Beverly Hills palettes. This is the Soft Glam. It was one of my favorite palettes of whenever it came out, 2020, 2019. And I mean, it does seem kind of boring and neutral, but it's just the perfect neutrals. And her shadows and formula in these palettes are just so beautiful and blend so nice. And it's just, I mean, they're pretty soft. They kick up a little bit, but like I said, they just blend so well and look and create some amazing looks. So this was a favorite among many, I believe, during that year that it released. Got the Amrezy palette because I think by then I just wanted to have like all of these in this kind of style from ABH, and eventually I'm just like, no, I don't need them all. I should declutter. So this one might eventually be decluttered because you could tell I barely touched it, and it's just a bunch of shades that I already have really and do not need. So this one might be chopped soon. Oh my gosh, the Sultry palette. So the Sultry palette was another like close to favorite after the Soft Glam. I was loving this palette when I was using it a lot, but you could barely tell. But this is just like beautiful cool tones and just like not overly smoky eye that you can create some really nice like day to night looks out of. And I just love that pop of coral in the bloom shade. And I just, yeah, this was a good favorite. I can't let this go. No. The Jackie Aina palette, it is stunning. I love the packaging with the iridescent like faux crocodile skin, and then these shades are just that shade there, Sponsored, is just like this gorgeous like green gold shift. I don't even know how to describe it because and then Lituation is a beautiful like taupey silver, and he has some fun purples in there. But yeah, I just think she really did a good job creating this one. And then of course you have the Norvina palette, the purple. Just love that color, purple. And these are just beautiful. They're beautiful, but I expected more purple tones in this besides the two like purpley shades. Yeah, with it being like a purple theme palette, they really didn't give you many purples. Like they could have given you like a dark violet, indigo color, just like a nice lilac shimmer. But you know, it's still gorgeous. Just you expected more purples from it. You might be wondering where my Modern Renaissance and Riviera palette are. I actually did declutter those in the past, so I do eventually declutter. Oh my gosh, I totally forgot about this palette, the Prism palette. This also had like mixed reviews. Not everybody was a fan of this one. And they are like just kind of a nonsensical color story. Like that yellow and that navy blue shimmer, and then this like silvery shimmer dimension. Just kind of doesn't look cohesive, but it's still like a fun palette. I probably will declutter this soon. And one of the most controversial palettes of all time, the Subculture. I think so many people expected this to be like such a hit after Modern Renaissance, and they like just hyped it up so much and built it up for their expectations, and were so disappointed. I mean, I know there was like some issues with, you know, some people getting really like bad palettes where basically you hit pan after like a couple tries, and then other people loved it. And I'm one of those people. I didn't love it, but I didn't have any issues with it. I know her formula can be powdery and soft, but I didn't hit pan on any of these, as you can see. I mean, I didn't like use it a ton, but I did use it more than probably some of my other palettes. And I think I just love the grungy shades. I think the color story is amazing. I love it. And I cannot, I appreciated this palette, and I am definitely keeping it forever just because of all of the hoopla that went around this palette. And I think you can still find them at TJ Maxx and Marshalls, even though they're not even creating this palette anymore, so who knows how old those are. But part of me was like, do I buy another one just to have one untouched? So yeah, we'll see. But I have mine that I've used and we'll just keep for memory's sakes. I have this large Stila palette in Happy Hour, and it's very heavy and weighty, and I think they released 2 different types in this collection, and I was planning, I think, on getting the other one. But then when I just saw this, I was just drawn to this because it had cooler tones and, you know, more out of my comfort zone and unlike other shades I have. So I opted for this one, and I have not used it. So they're really pretty though. I really should play with this. This is the Dominique Cosmetics Latte palette. This was the original palette she released. I just really love the neutral shades with that kind of darker teal shade and purple plum color, and these shimmers are just beautiful. So I definitely am going to keep this. And this is the Dominique Cosmetics Berries and Cream palette. A little bit bigger with some nice berry and purple shades. So I figured I'll keep this one for now. We'll see, maybe next time I'll declutter it. I got the Kat Von D, what is it, Edge of Reality eyeshadow palette. This is when she, I believe, sold her line. And it's just crazy because her brand was like so popular and so many people would buy her palettes and makeup. And then, you know, of course, the whole anti-vaxxing and just controversy with, you know, her personal views, which I do not agree with, just kind of plummeted her brand, I think, and she ended up selling it. So yeah, so I did pick up this palette, but I have not used it, so I don't know if the quality and formula is as good as it once was. So we'll see. I decluttered a lot of my Juvia's palettes, but this one I had to keep. It's the Magic Mini, and I don't believe I've used it, but I had to keep it because I do want to use it, and I know their formula is really great for the most part, and more affordable, so I wanted to keep it for some of these beautiful shimmers and try out this palette. I did place an order a while ago with Kaleidos. I know a lot of influencers get PR from them, so I did get the set, the Futurism set, and this is Futurism 2 Cyber Bronze. It's some gorgeous shades. I believe they are manufactured in China, but they ship pretty well, and it got to me fine when I did place that order a while ago. Here is the Futurism 1 Sci-Fi Green. This is the palette I really wanted the most, of course, because of those army green shades, and I just love that color combo. And this one is Futurism 3 Astro Pink, and these just look fun and beautiful with that magenta color and that sparkly teal. And yeah, I figured this would be a nice palette to try, so might as well get the set of 3. And then here is a Colored Rain palette. It's so funny, when I first heard of this brand, I thought it was Color Drain, and then I was like, oh, Colored Rain, that makes sense. But this is the Safari Rain, and some more greens. It kind of reminds me a little bit of Juvia's Place, but I think I'm decluttering the other palette I have by Colored Rain, so I wanted to keep this one. And then here's a little self-made palette I made with just this Tarte Empty palette, and of course all greens. I'm not sure what these shadow brands are. I think some of them are ABH, some of them might be Sydney Grace, some of them I can't even tell you. I would customize these palettes and then like never use them, but like I said, I love green shades, so hopefully I'll use this. I basically got this Milani Gilded Getaway palette for the packaging off Ulta. That little RV van with the curtains, so cute. Not touched, but you know, hopefully this has good formula. That Vacay Goals copper shade just looks dripping and gorgeous. So I definitely do want to try it. Here is a Nabla palette, side by side nude palette. I think I got this with either Ulta points or when they were having like their 21 days of beauty. Just kind of like generic neutral shades that I don't need, but I love Nabla shades, so I got this one just because I was probably wanting to shop. I did keep this Too Faced Tutti Frutti Pineapple Sparkling Pineapple Eyeshadow Palette. One, because I love pineapples and the packaging. These shades are gorgeous, especially that greeny shimmer shade, and it's a very nice quality. So I decluttered some of the other ones I have, but decided I have to keep this one. The last couple in this drawer is the ColourPop You Are a Cutie palette, and just some really nice purple shades here. Nothing like too out of the box. I can definitely make these wearable and create a nice like more toned down eye look because I don't do like wild and crazy colors. So I decided to keep this one. And I don't really buy too many Tarte palettes anymore because they really don't release anything like eye-catching as much as they used to. I used to be like so into Tarte and Too Faced, and then I feel like their brands have just kind of dropped off a couple years ago. So this one, I did end up picking up the Young, Wild, and Cruelty-Free Tarte palette, Unleashed. And it's a nice palette. You know, you got your neutrals and warm tones, and then you have the shimmers and blues, but I think the names are really cute, but nothing like stellar. So this one might eventually get decluttered. Oh, and here's another Natasha Denona palette, the Tropic palette, which was limited edition and also not really a fan favorite in the makeup community. As you can tell, like some of the pans, like you get hard pan, like in that juicy shade, but I haven't really touched many of the other shades, even though they're very nice mattes, it looks like, and a couple of these shimmers. I know Tiger Lily is like super pigmented. That lilac shade, Xena, is beautiful. So I definitely did want to keep this still for my collection. And the gold palette was not in this drawer, so let's see if it's in the next drawer. So I think I'm going to save this drawer for part 2. There's a lot of smaller palettes, and I think it will be easier to use my tripod, and there's just the other video was long enough, I think, for part 1, and stay tuned for part 2 eventually to come. Thanks.